stanza of Lift Every Voice and Sing. Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring. Ring with the harmony of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the glistening sky. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the darkness has taught us. Sing a song full of the faith that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun of our new day begun. Let us march on till victory is won. Let's go to verse 3. God of our weary years, God of our silent tears, thou who hast brought us thus far on thy way, thou who hast by thy might led us into the light. Let us forever in the path we pray. Lest our feet stray from the places of God where we met. Lest our hearts, drunk with the wine of the world, we forget thee. Shadow beneath thy hand, shadow beneath thy hand, may we forever stand, true to our God, true to our native land. Thank you all for getting here today. And just let me say, when Sam was singing, it was interesting to see Karen Palmer up here. I call her Karen Palmer because I've known her for a while. And it reminded me of Dottie, seeing how excited you got and how enthusiastic. And this being Black History Month, it sort of was important to reflect on somebody like that. So it was good to see you reenacting your mom. I've known rivers. I've known rivers ancient as the world and older than the flow of human blood and human veins. My soul has grown deep like rivers. I bathed in the Euphrates when dawns were young. I built my hut near the Congo and it lulled me to sleep. I looked upon the Nile and raised the pyramids above it. I heard the singing of the Mississippi when Abe Lincoln went down to New Orleans. I've seen its muddy bosom turn all golden in the sunset. I've known rivers, ancient, dusty rivers. If Black History Month is not viable, then the wind does not carry the seed that drops them on fertile ground. Rain does not dampen the land and encourage the seeds to root. Sun does not warm the earth and kiss the seedlings and tell the plain, you're as good as anybody else. You got a place here too. I think it's important that when we have important events in our community, that we take the time to not only celebrate, but to recognize. And today, we want to recognize some folks, first, who are on a journey. And that that journey is to make the city a great place to live, to work, to raise a family, and at the same time, move us from this era of chaos that we find ourselves, or had found ourselves in the city, towards a time period where we can feel good about returning Trenton to its traditional greatness. And so our first activity today is a special acknowledgement of the new Trenton City Council members. And I'm not sure how many are here, but with all the Trenton City Council people, please come forward who are here. Thought it would be good to give you a little something from the Capital City Area Black Caucus to let you know how much we appreciate the journey that you're about to go on. The fact that you stepped up to want to accept the responsibility of going on that journey. And so, you know, Annette is going on the journey, Cordelia is going on the journey. A number of us have gone on the journey, and we thought it was important to let you know something very black. We got your back. We're going to support where you're coming from because we believe that y'all are the future and that y'all are going to be responsible for moving Trenton towards that greatness that we're talking about. So thank you very much and good luck to you.
Thank you.
Next, you know, we all deal with the lottery, right? Some folks deal with the lottery different. Me, if I win some money, I'm gonna try to put it in the bank and hold on to it for as long as I can. That's just who I am. But in this community, a family was able to win the lottery. And they decided that what was the most important thing for them to do is not to invest in themselves, but to invest in the community. So today we want to recognize the Smith Foundation for the work that they have done in this Here to accept on behalf of the Smith Family Foundation is the President of the Trenton City Council, Tesla Fisher.
Who's our CEO and Executive Director of the Smith Family Foundation, sends her regards. She had an issue with a family member this morning that prevented her from being here. So she wanted me to give you this message. First, she gives honor to God, to Reverend Boyer, Sister Boyer, and to everyone that is assembled today. She said, please dedicate this award on behalf of the children of Trenton, who are all working toward the aim of giving them a safe, healthy, and thriving community to grow up and develop. I have kid count books that recently came out that she'd like for me to share with all of you. I am going to go to my car now, and I'll leave some at the back door, so if any of you would like them. But she thanks you, and I thank you on behalf of the Smith Family Foundation, and we thank you for encouraging us as we do the work here in the community.
You know, before we recognize these future black leaders, I'd be remiss if I didn't have the pastor of this church come forward and just maybe make some Black history remarks. Would y'all please welcome
To God be the glory. Great things God has done. You know, we've been talking about Black History Month all month. I will always say every single time you see me that I remain extremely proud and humbled to be the pastor of the most black church in the city. But what I am extremely proud of today, more than anything else, is not black history, but black present and black future. And in regards to the black present, I know I'm still new to the city, and I may be naive, and I may be full of unmitigated hope, but I feel like something good is stirring amongst black folk in the city of Trenton. And finally, I'm so proud that several of these young honorees today have associations with Greater Mount Zion Salvation and Social Justice. Amen. Amen. And so, I praise God for the opportunity to serve this city at such a time as this. And so I'm not going to take the shine from the honoree time by shouting those particular ones out now. But when you see our reaction, we're going to give praise to God for everybody. But when you see us just a little bit more animated for our three, you'll know it's them. Thank you, John, for all that you do. Thank you to the entire Black Caucus. Thank you to our particular members, the Frisbees. Amen. And thank you to all of you. God bless you.
Thank you, Reverend Boyd. Sam, can you and Douglas come up and help me with this award presentation and hand out to these young folks? These are folks that have been identified as future black leaders of tomorrow. Now, their backgrounds include street workers, community activists, educators, heads of democratic organizations, attorneys, school board members, all moving in the direction of leadership. And one of the things that Janine and Doug and Sam and I and others talk about in the Capital City area Black Caucus is how important it is to replenish the bench. How important it is to make sure that we have young folks who are ready to step up when the angels and the ancestors start humming in our ears, reaching out to us to say it's time to come home. Now, everyone talks about heaven, like you just can't wait to go. And it is so nice and so beautiful. But today, we're going to recognize some beautiful young folks who are trying to not necessarily go to heaven now, but are doing God's work and doing heaven's work to make sure, on earth, to make sure that when they get to the gates, it is open, that there's a welcome, that they will see other Trentonians and other African Americans coming from this community, from Mercer County, who've gone there before them. And so we want to start by recognizing Larry Traylor. Tell me that at the same time that we were recognizing Shaquille, that they were recognizing his grandmother. And so Shaquille said, Coach Billy, what do I do? I said, man, the community loves you, but you better go and deal with your family. And so let us, in absentia, let's just recognize. Our next honoree, we affectionately call Shakes, but her real name is Shakespeare Cadet. So Shakes, you come forward. next honoree is Pete Lewis. Our next honoree is Shadura Lee. Our next honoree is Kenny B. Our next honoree is Athena Fassel, who could not be here today.
Thank you.
She had a family issue, but I wanted to make sure we acknowledge her. Our next honoree is Ashwin Horton. Our next honoree is Mama Lou Dorley. Our next honoree, I've known ever since he was a zygote, and that's Palmer J. Richardson. And for those who don't know what a zygote is, that's a fertilized egg. Our next honoree is Dan Smith. Our next honoree is Yasminelli Gonzalez. Councilwoman came in and said, I appreciate the recognition, but the kids at the high school have a game today, and so we got to be out of here by 12:30. So I told her we would.
I know freedom. Yeah. He gonna be on that mic.
Our next honoree is Fatima Hayward. Our next honoree is not here, I don't think, Crystal Feliciano. But let's give her a hand. Our next honoree is Jossie Evans. Our next honoree is our timekeeper for the day, one of the outstanding young men in our community, Austin Evans, the school board member. Our next honoree, I'm going to bring them up together, even though I think only one of them is here. Sean and Kyle Smith.
All right.
And lastly, our final honoree is Larry. We will get the folks who weren't here their plaques on behalf of all of us in attendance today. So let's thank our honorees. Good luck to you. talking about. Everybody wanted to hear the candidates sort of sit down and talk a little bit about issues and concerns important to the city of Trenton. But we have a few ground rules. So before we get into the ground rules, I'm going to ask our county executive and our assemblyman, would y'all please join us? Larry, either one. Either one. You know, this is Sister Boyd's church, so I can't tell her to be quiet. But I can say, you know, the Lord likes quiet. Each candidate will be given 2 minutes opening statement and a 2-minute closing statement. Questions will be posed to each candidate with a 1 to 2 minute response. Questions will alternate back and forth between the two candidates. The gentleman at the end, Austin Everett, will keep time. In the middle of your 2 minutes, i.e. 90 seconds, Austin will tell you you have 30 seconds to wrap up. Another turn.
Well, I think I want to thank you very much and thank the pastor for allowing us once again to use this hall for some very positive community outreach and community service. I want to thank you, JB, for putting this on, Frisbee, Sam Frisbee, of being part of this organization. But why should I be county executive one more time? I believe being county executive is having executive experience. And I believe executive experience comes with what you've done for the community and what you're going to do for the community. I think I have a long record of what I've done, not only for Mercer County, but specifically for the city of Trenton. Working with now Mayor Gusiora for the second time, and he's endorsed my campaign. We have worked very well together on issues that are important to the city of Trenton. And I would say, number one, all of us, everybody in this room, lost 2 years of our lives to a pandemic. And that we...
You have 30 seconds.
30 seconds.
Who's keeping the time? 30 seconds. I would say we lost 2 years of our time, productive time, that we need to finish the job here in Mercer County and the city of Trenton. We have worked very hard on transparency and moving people forward and getting people to work, to getting people out of the criminal justice system and into productive lives and moving forward together.
That's time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Assemblyman Benson, same question. Why should citizens of Mercer County vote for Dan Benson? And we're using the first question as an introduction to everybody.
Thank you, John. First, I want to thank you and Sam. I want to thank Reverend Boyer for hosting us here today. I think people should vote for me because it's not just about me. It's about Mercer County. It's about the city of Trenton. It's about all of our communities. I'm running because we need a change. We need a county government that's more active, that's more in our community, that meets us where the needs are. I'm running because I have a lot of experience, both as a council person, as a former freeholder, now county commissioner, and as a legislator. I've worked on issues of healthcare, transportation, social services. Together, we can collaborate and innovate to make the changes that we need here to meet the opportunities that we have. I love the fact that we were honoring not just our future leaders, they're leaders today. And they should have the opportunity to put their mark not just on the city, but our county. My administration will do that and give them that opportunity. I have given plans about our Trent Waterworks. I've talked about my plans about getting social services out more into the community. I've talked about my service to the city, serving on the board of the Henry J. Austin Center for many years. I can take those experiences and bring people together, unify us as a community, and lead us to that next generation of leadership and opportunity for all.
30
And that's why I'm
seconds.
running. Thank you so much.
Brian, what have you specifically done to assist the citizens of Chester?
Well, one of the things I specifically done was to stop folks like Dan Benson and other folks that I'm not supposed to mention today, who were very thought selling the waterworks was a very important process to make Trenton stronger. I think selling the waterworks would have made Trenton weaker because it is one of the very few revenue producers for the city of Trenton. And I believe Trenton needs all of the revenue it can possibly get. It does not need people like Dan signing legislation or joining legislation that would look into moving the waterworks into suburban districts and cutting off the revenue that the city of Trenton needs.
Dan, what would you specifically do to assist the citizens of Chester?
So I think there's a lot of things we can do. But first is helping to empower the new council members that just got elected. Working with their ideas, using the borrowing power that we have, and also using the bully pulpit of the county. We got to get to the state and say, you own so much of the land that doesn't pay taxes here. But the county owns 10% of that too. And so we have to also lead by example. So we got to take an inventory of our property. We got to figure out how we put more of that back on the tax rolls. And we got to work with the state to do the same. Because that's how you spur economic development. And that's how you make change in different areas. And that becomes an anchor and a catalyst. But it has to be in partnership with our city. It also has to be in partner with other mayors throughout the county. Because when Trenton does well, the whole county does well. And that's why I've pledged to make sure that we have meetings on a regular basis with each of our mayors and their chiefs of staff together so that we can build what should we be doing in each of those areas and how do we collaborate and share ideas. So specifically, again, like I said, it's about economic development. It's about improving housing. It's using our borrowing authority and our ability to go after federal competitive grant dollars and bring those back home, just as I've done at the state level to provide grant dollars for Mercer County.
Brian, it's been reported that the chief financial officer of the county worked and stayed on the job without adequate credentials for a number of years. What is your response to that?
Well, I would just respond in many ways, but one of the things I would respond to is that Daniel has been on the budget committee for many, many years. He's been on the transportation committee for many, many years. In the budget committee, he has brought $0 back to the city of Trenton.
That's not the question, Brian. The question is, your chief financial officer has been on the job with no credentials. What is your response to that? Not your response to what Dan has been doing. Your response to that.
Well, I think I should be able to respond to.
You can, but respond to the question. Okay? It has been reported that the chief financial officer of the county worked and stayed on the job without adequate credentials. What is your response to that?
My response is that we were all cheated by our chief financial officer. We lost money because he didn't pay his taxes to the state on time. What do you do when you find a situation like that? You cut a person off with, you fire them with no pay, and you refer the operation to the Attorney General office. And that's exactly what we did in Mercer County.
Okay. Dan, what would you do differently than Brian if elected?
Well, first, obviously, we have to clean up our finances. Back in 2016, there was a whistleblower from the procurement office that said we were having trouble with our CFO not following the rules. Apparently, nothing happened, and he continued on. And it wasn't that he didn't pay his taxes. He didn't pay the whole county's taxes. That's why we lost $4.5 million. You know, I want to applaud Commissioner Nina Melker, who got a program of $3 million out of the ARP fund for each of the municipalities to share. That $4.5 million could have doubled that, and more so. Think of what we could have done with that $4.5 million. In addition, we need to create a culture of the county where people can ask questions and not be afraid, where we respect our workers, where different departments talk to each other more. Because none of this would have happened. We would have noticed that $200 million of capital expenses never made it to bond. Didn't people notice when equipment didn't show up, investments weren't happening? It took the firing of the CFO for folks to even feeling free to speak up again. We're going to make that change. We're going to respect our employees. We're going to raise people up so that they can be leaders no matter what their position is in the county, because that's what real leadership looks like for everyone. Thank you.
Brian, what are 3 things you're most proud of in your tenure as a Mercer County executive?
Well, one of the 3 things I'm most proud of is our park system, which I think is the best in the state. And even what we've been able to do in the city of Trenton, we have produced parkland along the Assapequa River. We've been able to produce parkland and farmland right behind the Trenton area soup kitchen. We've been able to show young men and young women how to farm and how to produce and generate new products. And 2 of the things I'm most proud about is that we have done a swim to row program where we teach young men and women how to swim and then how to go out to our rowing facility in West Windsor and teach them how the sport of crew. I think that's very important and something that we ought to be proud of.
Dan, there is a sentiment out there that events administration will not be diverse. What is your response to that?
My response is, we are a diverse county. Mercer County is going to be a diverse government under events administration. But not only are we going to reflect the talent and the energy that we see, not only here in this room, but across the county, but we're going to set goals in our procurement so that when we spend our dollars, we are spending it in that diversity that we see here in Mercer County. When we hire professional services, we are going to make sure that we reflect the diversity of our county. And you do that because you set goals, you have a DEI officer appointed and hired. It means you have someone in procurement who is set to do that, and not just wait for people to come in. You have to go out into the community. You've got to train folks on how to apply for for the different works that are going on. You've got to show folks that there's opportunities here to do that. We got to expand our horizons locally by using our money to not only just get the services that the county needs, but to create jobs, to lift communities up, and to build on the diversity that we should be having here in the county. Because I think diversity is not a state of mind, it is a forever striving that we need to do at this county, and there is work to be done. Thank you.
Brian, this election is about local choices. What is your take on the overwhelming support your opponent has locally?
John, give me that one more time, just so I...
Yeah, this election is really about local choices. What is your take on the overwhelming support of your opponent has locally?
Well, our local choices is you take a look at things that people have done, not what people promise they'll do, but what people have done. And when you took at a look at our Mercer County Community College right here in the city of Trenton, and how far we have moved to making that just a part of the community college, but an actual community college where you can get your full degree there, I think that's important. That's something you have done, not something you have promised you will do. It's something you've actually done. And Dan has signed on to a lot of legislation. He's been on a lot of freeholder boards and council boards and in the legislature. But he really hasn't produced anything for the city of Trenton. He talks very well about what he will do, but he has not produced anything for our great county. And I believe if you have a great capital city, you have a great capital county. And that's what I'm working towards every day.
30 seconds.
Okay. I'm not sure you really addressed that, but we'll go to the opponent. Dan, what is your take on the fact that you have almost every significant elected official in Mercer County, commissioners, state assemblies, state senators, a host of unions supporting you? What does that mean to you, and how do you interpret that overwhelming support for your candidacy?
My whole life, I've always tried to build things from the ground up. As a former council person, that was important to me. I wanted to see the leaders at the county and state level partner with me when I was a council person because I had ideas and I wanted to make that happen. My whole career has been about that. When mayors have needed things at the state, whether I represented them or not, they often came to me to ask for my advice and my ideas. Not because I knew the solution every single time, but they knew I was going to work with them to find that solution and get it done. So when the DOT was blocking the all-pedestrian cross after a fatality in Princeton, the mayor called me as the chair of transportation so that we could get that done. With the Boulevard project, when that was stalled, the mayor of Trenton called me as well to say, hey, can you reach out to the Department of Transportation to change their minds about those projects? Same thing with the Assunpink Bridge. We have partnered time and time again. And when they say, and my opponent says I haven't delivered, we have delivered an increase in the earned income tax credit through the budget process. We have increased property tax relief, including for renters, which, by the way, the deadline's coming up really quick, so please apply. That's $400. And we also increased the child tax credit. We expanded health care during COVID. When they say we lost 2 years, listen, it wasn't the 2 years I planned for, but it was 2 of my most productive years because we expanded health care, we expanded social services, we helped people where they were needed. And guess what? Because of that, not only did we make New Jersey stronger, Mercer stronger, and the city here stronger,
30 seconds.
we now have the ability to build on that at the county level. I have the support from local officials because they want to see the change too. They're tired of the lack of transparency. They want to have a partner that's not going to yell at them, but that's going to hold a hand out and say, let's get this done together. Thank you.
Brian, if elected, what will your plan and vision, and you alluded to it a minute ago, what is your plan and vision be for working with Mercer County Community College?
Well, my plan for Mercer County Community College is not only to make our downtown campus something that people can go to and get their degrees at and make sure they get farther along in their associate degrees, but to make the entire neighborhood around the community college light up at night. We're going to put new lights in, we're going to put new facilities in, we're going to make sure that people feel comfortable in that neighborhood, that they are feel like they're secure. We're going to work with the council and the mayor to make sure downtown Trenton feels like a downtown anywhere. My opponent loves to bring up Jersey City quite often. We want Trenton to look like Jersey City, to make sure it has the vibrancy and the action and the restaurants and the facilities that people want and people will enjoy. And that's something I feel is very important, something we've been working on very hard.
30 seconds.
And we will continue to work on. It is a vast improvement so far in what it has been, and now it's going to be even better. Thank you.
Dan, if elected, what will your plans and vision for working with Mercer County Community College be?
Yeah, I think this is a perfect example of some of the empty promises and missed opportunities here. My opponent, Brian's been there for 20 years. 10 years ago, they built a brand new building. It looks beautiful. You know there are tenants in there that have nothing to do with the educational mission of the college. They're there because they need to get the revenue. We have an opportunity. The county put together a great plan called the Gateway Project. Mercer County Improvement Authority paid for it. And it showed improvements that could be made from the campus in Trenton all the way up Broad Street to the county administration building. Other than a few buildings that were already on the books, none of that plan has happened. That was in 2013. This has been a missed opportunity. We've got to make a true campus. Campus is where people want to stay there, not just for the classes, not just being inside the buildings, but being out in the community. We want to make sure that we build those public-private partnerships. You see what TCNJ did with their town hall, with their town center area. It became a vibrant piece of the downtown, of the downtown community there in Ewing around. People are coming onto the campus now because of that, even ones that aren't students. We can do that in the city, but we have to do it through our borrowing capabilities, by partnering with the city, the college, and getting more support from our state. I've pulled folks together to make projects happen.
30 seconds.
We can do that here, so that those that want to go to our suburban campus, they can, but also for those that want to have that urban campus experience, like so many students do, see that as the jewel that it is in our city. Thank you.
Brian, what are your economic development plans for the county?
What am I, what?
What are your economic development plans for the county?
Our economic development plans have already taken place. We have gotten over $425 million in grants and bonds from the state of New Jersey and from the federal government. I can't say the same of my opponent, but our economic development plan and the commissioners, many of them are here today. The commissioners agreed with me that we should give set-asides for minority businesses, veterans businesses and women's businesses, allowing them to participate finally in the grants and the funding that comes out of Mercer County government. And I think that will make a significant change in the way we do our funding for small businesses in the city of Trenton and throughout Mercer County.
Dan, what is your economic development vision for the county?
I think there's 3 areas. One, we got to lower risk for entrepreneurs. We can do that through our borrowing authority by working with community banks and others to, again, lower interest rates. Second, we can increase capital, not only leveraging our own borrowing abilities, so that there's more capital out there for those that are going to invest. And then finally, we can directly invest in economic development projects in our area. So taking those 3 broad pieces, we can do that here. So those that are buying homes, to fix them up and to put them back on the market so we have more housing stock, that improves the economic environment. I talked about trying to put more of the properties that are not on the tax rolls back onto the tax rolls. That's not just for the city of Trenton, but that's in Hamilton, Ewing, and other parts of the county where we own facilities, and the state does too. Making sure that we are out there selling Mercer County in partnership with our mayors to those Fortune 500 companies and to the pharmaceutical companies and other companies out there that bring really high-paying jobs. The county should be that economic engine, partnering with our mayors to do that. We know at the local level, our communities know what they need. They just need a county there that's going to be supportive of them, that is going to listen, and make sure that we can empower folks to get the job done. And like I said, those 3 ways of doing it, the county has those levers to make investment happen and keep projects moving.
Moving towards the end of these conversations, we've got a few more questions. Brian, what is your definition of social equity?
My definition
Of social equity?
My definition of social equity is to make sure that people who are coming back into our society from the criminal justice system or from legal involvement have an opportunity to work, to be part of a vibrant economic situation. And through that, we hire a lot of folks in Mercer County who have done just that. We believe in folks who come out of our correction center are part of the people that work and apply for jobs in Mercer County. We believe that people who have not been given a chance to be part of our community and to be part of our economic development should be. And I believe that folks who have a chance
30 seconds.
finally to be part of our economic engine that is working every day in Mercer County, they should be part of that. When I came into office, we had close to 1,000 people in our correction center. Now we have less than 400. That means we're doing something right, and we're working with people to get them back into society.
That's time.
And back where they belong. Thank you.
Dan, your definitions for social equity?
Sure. I do want to just say, I'm fully supportive of trying to keep folks out of jail and reentry, but I think that's a perfect example of where we've failed as a society and why social equity is so important. Bev Smith's here, who I serve on the board of Henry J. with, and we talk about social equity and social justice all the time. Social equity to me is about justice. It's recognizing the past and past racism that has created generational barriers for folks to reach their full potential. It's recognizing that we have systems and systemic racism today that are continuing to keep people behind. And so social equity is a demand. It's a demand on leaders, it's a demand on all of society to step up, to wipe away those barriers, to help have remedial efforts. But more importantly, it's to help put things in place, social programs, economic development, where we can help raise people up so that people can meet their needs. That's in education, that's in economic development, that's in our social services. We can do that in each of those areas. And that's recognizing those traumas of our past with open eyes and making sure that forever we are seeking, again, social justice. It's something that is a work that's never done.
Brian, what's your thoughts on how do we close the economic wealth gap in Mercer County?
The economic.
Wealth gap in Mercer County. How do we close the economic wealth gap?
Well, the economic welfare is something that is important. I think we need to raise the amount of money we get from the state. As I mentioned before, Dan has been on the committee for economy in the state for years and years and years. He really hasn't produced anything and gotten bills through the state. And I remember when Mayor Palmer was mayor, he was able to get, and I don't know what the exact figure was, Mayor, but I think it was close to $54 million from the state in payments. Now it's down to lower than 30, I believe. That was through Governor Christie and some other problems that could have been solved on the economic committee, but wasn't. I think we need more money from the state, and we need more support from the state
30 seconds.
to get our programs through and to get our support that we need.
Dan, same question. What's your vision or what's your thoughts on closing the economic wealth gap in Mercer County?
Sure, and I'm just going to say again, increased property tax relief, earned income tax credit increased, child care tax credit. These are all things that we got done. We've increased school funding for the city of Trenton almost every year that I've been in the assembly. You close the wealth gap by first, education, things that change generational economic situations of families. It's education. We not only have the community college, but we also have our technical school and our VOTEC programs. We have ways of investing in those and expanding those so we have more slots to help folks with education. It's making sure that people can own a home and helping to find ways to expand the programs that we have for first-time home buyers, but as well as working with entrepreneurs that are putting new homes onto the purchasing ability, and working with nonprofit developers that build housing that people can own. And then it's entrepreneurship. Letting people own businesses helps generate generational wealth and helps to eliminate that gap. So those are the three areas: education, again, owning homes, owning businesses. By doing those three things, the county has a direct ability to impact each one of those areas. And under my administration, we will be laser focused on helping to lift up in those three areas so we can create generational wealth and eliminate as best we can that wealth gap that is just pervasive and persistent in our society due to racism.
Brian, is there anything you want to ask Assemblyman Benson?
Well, I think that in Mercer County, we've
Question for him. Do you have a question for Assemblyman Benson?
Well, the question for the Assemblyman is, does he realize that we have reduced homelessness and permanent homelessness in the city of Trenton by 70%? And does he realize that we have put 100% of our homeless veterans into permanent housing? So when you say we haven't done enough for housing and getting people into homes, I really don't know what you're talking about, so that would be my question.
Well, as a council person, we were one of the first towns to sign on the compact to end homelessness. As a commissioner, we helped create the program that a certain amount of money goes into homeless trust fund every single time someone files a document or a deed. So I'm aware of the work that the county does around homelessness and housing. What I'm talking about is using our borrowing authority through the MCIA to work for direct projects, something that our MCIA hasn't done, but other counties do, through their improvement authorities. So yes, I do think that there is work that we can still continue to do in housing that we're not currently. My question is, if I'm successful at the convention and in the primary, will you commit to working with me and our folks here in this room for a smooth transition and to work together to build Mercer County under unity in the Democratic Party and with us here?
I have, can I answer?
Yeah.
I have given my life to Mercer County. I've worked for 26 years, 6 as a freeholder and 20 as county executive. Of course, I've worked with Mercer County. I have pride in New Jersey. My father was governor for 2 terms. My grandfather was mayor of Burlington City. We always ran against Democrats. We always ran against Republicans. This is the first time I've had a Democrat running against me. I think that's because you're being pushed, quite frankly. Well, okay, I won't go into that. Go ahead.
Now, does he still have time, Weston?
Yes, 1 minute left.
That was the only response you had, Brian?
1 minute left for me.
Yes, sir.
Well, I would say that Ms. Daniel has been pushed by the county chair into running against me because she has a particular animus against me for whatever reason. But I think we have done a particularly good job for Mercer County and for the city of Trenton. I wouldn't have the mayor of Trenton
30 seconds.
endorsing me had I not done a good job for Trenton and laid out a plan for the future of what Mercer County can do with the new council and a mayor who's ready to work with them, and a county that's ready to work with both of them.
And that's time.
Thank you.
All right, we're at closing remarks. Brian, you have the first 2 minutes of closing remarks.
I would say this. I would thank all the people for being in this room today. I thank you for your dedication to the city of Trenton, your dedication to Mercer County, your belief that we have a great capital county if we have a great capital city. I want to tell you that there are many things. I have 2 sheets of things that we could go through that we've done with the city of Trenton, from parks to farms to all sorts of things. But all I want to really say is, I was born in the city of Trenton. My first school was Junior 3. I moved to Princeton when my father was elected governor, but I have my heart in the city of Trenton, and it will never leave. We have work to do. We have grants to get. We have infrastructure bonding that is just coming out now from the federal government. We plan to get a full share of that.
30
And
seconds.
we're going to make Mercer County better. We're going to make the city of Trenton better. And with your help, we'll move forward together. Thank you.
Ben?
First, I want to thank again the organizers, John, Sam, Reverend Boyer, for hosting. I want to thank all of you for being here. I know change isn't easy, but if we are going to move forward here in this county, change is what we need. We can't go after competitive grants until we have an audit completed from 2 years ago. We can't make new programs until we fix the finances that we have in the county and that we have policies and procedures in place. We've got a lot of work to do, but with the commissioners, with our mayors, working together, not only are we just making change, it's not change for change's sake, it's because we want to reach those ideals and reach our democratic values that we feel in our heart that we're just not making there right now. We can get this done because we are in an unprecedented time with new leadership in the city of Trenton, with a governor who is focused on improving and investing in our cities all across the state, and a federal government that has a large amount of infrastructure dollars and social services dollars that we can go after if we can show and meet the moment that we have a plan and a vision. I've offered you today my vision for our county, one where we innovate and collaborate, one where we invest in our best resource, the people. We can get this done because we have both the borrowing capacity, we have the ability to use what we already spend, but
30
get
seconds.
more for those dollars. And that we have the ability to improve not only in healthcare, education, and economic development, but we have the ability to lift up our whole county so that it becomes an example for the whole state of New Jersey. And we can do that together. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Before we wrap up our program, let's get both of our candidates to the podium. Sam, you want to come up? Janine, you have something you might want to say? Are you good? You good?
I'm just,
Doug, you good?
the only thing, John, I wanted to say, if I can say it from here,
Yes.
that I appreciate the fact that the capital city area of Black Caucus, and this is really for the young people we honor today, that we have a safe place where we can hold these forums. I know when I started out in politics many, many years ago, my whole thing is always, can I see myself in the government, whether it's a candidate, whether it's someone who is in leadership, can I see myself? And I hope that you all here today, that you have taken notes of not just the candidates here today, but also other commentary that's been made in this room, and make a decision. Can you see yourself in anything that you have experienced here today? Thanks for coming. We hope you will continue to come back every month. We will be here every month. This is our 5th year with this capital city area of Black Caucus. We have lived for almost 5 years, so thank you so very much.
Let's also give our timekeeper, school board member Austin Evans. You know, as I watch this election, this journey that these gentlemen are going on, I saw it as an interesting opportunity for all of us. One, to know more about city government. Two, to know more about state government. But three, to know more about who we are as participants in government. Yesterday I didn't receive it, I happened to become aware of an email that had a picture of Dan Benson and Doug Palmer, and the sign that Doug Palmer had said for sale. This is Black History Month. The implication there is that Dan is a slave master, and Doug is a slave. Unless one of y'all put it out there, unless one of y'all put it out there, it's still one of y'all put it out there. So I'm saying to you, is that if you have enough nerve to put it out there and hide it, come forward in public. That's all. That's not garbage, that's reality. It's reality. And if you put it out there, you need to be acknowledged for it. And if you put it out there, you need to be acknowledged for it. But if you put it out there, you need to be acknowledged for it. No.
Hold on. This is our house. So we are gonna move on from this. All right? Thank you.
But I wanted to bring it to our attention because we all need to move forward in a positive manner going forward. That's the point. We should be moving going forward. We should not be looking for ways to take shots at each other. We should be moving forward because what's about to happen here is not about these two candidates. It's about the future of the county. It's about the future of the city. Amen. And we do not need to go negative, putting Brian in a bad spot, or putting Dan in a bad spot. More importantly, putting Deb Comer in a bad spot. That's disrespectful, and it's sad, and it's in Black History Month, I'm not going for it. So having said that, we thank you all for your time. We thank you all for coming to the meeting.
Can I have you?
No, you can't. This is not your meeting. This is not your meeting. This is not your meeting. Hold your own meeting.
Yeah, right. That's the problem.
Hold your own
That's
meeting.
the problem.
Hold your own meeting.
You ain't fucking nobody. I ain't going for that.
Good evening.
I ain't going
Well,
for
actually,
that.
good morning.
I ain't going for that job.
And let's bring the temperature down a little bit. Because what I really want to do is, I want to honor some of the folks that are in the room, and I want to just have a last word here. The Capital City Area Black Caucus, and Mom, thank you for your words. It's actually been 6 years, not 5 years, that we've actually been in operation. We designed the Capital City Area Black Caucus several years ago so that we could make sure that people in the city of Trenton had a connection to those who were elected, to the people that make decisions about our lives, to the people that serve us day in and day out. And it's important that one, we do it in a way that's respectful, but two, that we have access. Because when you really want to talk about social inequities are all about lack of access. It's lack of access. And so the Capital City Area Black Caucus was designed so that we could have access. And I want to just say thank you to some of the electeds that are in the room. We have our former state senator, Jerry Stockman, who is in the room. Former Mayor Liz Lambert, when they combined both Princetons. We have my current Assemblywoman Verlena Reynolds Jackson, who's one of the founders. We have the chair of the Mercer County Board, we have our county surrogate, Diane Jarofsky, in the room. Madam Judge. And Mayor Martin Frieda in the room. I didn't even see you, Mayor. And then we've got our chair of the Mercer County Board of Commissioners, Lucy Walter, who's running for re-election this year. The vice chair of the Commissioner Board, John Semino, who's also running for re-election. Trenton's homegrown County Commissioner, Terrence Stokes. I want to give a special shout out to Nina Melker, who's a county commissioner. But ever since she got elected, since the very first time that we held one of these meetings, she's made just about every meeting for the last 6 years. And then we've got the man who brought me to Mercer County. I don't know whether or not to thank him or shanking. I don't know how we do. My good friend, Mayor Douglas H. Palmer. And you can't mention our former mayor without mentioning our wonderful former councilwoman, I believe the first black woman elected at large, Cordelia State. So here's what I just want to kind of finish up with my comments on. When we talk about black history, when we talk about the pain and the suffering that goes on with black people, not only in this nation, in this state, and in this county, we have to be cognizant of who we elect. We have to be cognizant of who we put our energy into, and we have to be cognizant of what's the impact that they have when they're in office or whatever they're doing. One of the things that is powerful to me, data and statistics are powerful. State of New Jersey, we rank in the top 5 of all things that you don't want to rank in the top 5 of the state of New Jersey. Crime, but prisons with black men incarcerated, with black young men incarcerated, we rank in the top 3. When it talks about housing disparities, we rank in the top 5. Economic disparities, we rank in the top 3. When you talk about the average white family being able to put their hands on $352,000 worth of wealth, the average black family can only put their hands on $6,000 worth of wealth, right? There's some real disparities there. And in Mercer County, they're not that much better. And it's not that all elected officials can actually solve that, because that's a total us problem, but we have to be working together to make sure that we're making that type of impact. In Mercer County, the median income, at least the last time I checked it, I think was $75,000, and the median income in the city of Trenton, where it is mostly black and brown, is about $36,000, right? And Mercer County's is only so low because you actually add Trenton's in. If you took Trenton's out, Mercer County would be above $100,000 in median income. Those things matter. Those things are important. And we have to begin to work together, black, white, Latino, all of us, indifferently, because we see a group of people that are suffering. And the only way to fix that, and I know that Pastor Boyer, the work that he's done and Sister Rosalie, in terms of creating a birthing center next door, we're the only capital city that you can't actually have a baby in. Can you imagine you can't have a baby in the capital city? Because there's no place to actually have a baby. I've been around politics itself for a long time. I've never fancied myself a politician. I've always fancied myself a public servant. As a matter of fact, my wife and I, when we moved here for public service. I joke and say that Doug brought me here. I saw an opportunity to be able to help people when I came into his administration. And I never, ever thought that I'd be in politics. My wife despised politics when we first moved here. But we saw a need, and we saw that people needed to be helped. So we said we'll step in and we'll stand in the gap. We need everybody in this room to step in and stand in the gap. Because it doesn't matter how challenging your situation is. There's somebody out there who is in a situation that's more challenging than yours. And we use what we have to make it better for those who don't. And so I want to implore us all, from the position that we stand in, you can lead from the front, you can lead from the middle, and you can lead from the back. All of us need to make sure that we're standing up, not just for Black History Month, because Black History Month is 365 days a year. I'm grateful for people like Doug Palmer and John Bailey and John Harmon and Tracy Syfax and my mother, who are all a little bit more senior than I am. But they've all paved the way and created a path. And we stand on their shoulders. And it's the work that they've done that allows us to even have the privilege to step into rooms like being a county commissioner. Kelly Ganges working on the first campaign of our first Black assemblyman. It's people like that that have done the work. we all have an obligation and an opportunity to continue to do the work.
All right.
So let us all stand. I'm going to give us a little bit of a benediction, but let me just...
I do want to say thank you to some of our community residents, Sister Karen, who takes pictures every place, and she's here today. Brother Ray Ingram, who came to video this and actually live stream it for us. Thank you, Ray, being Capitol Heights. And then I don't want to forget, Trenton Central High School boys are playing in their third game today. 1 o'clock, Trenton High, our home game. Make sure you're there. Let's go out and root them on. Thank you.
All right, I just want to recognize the NAACP president, Brother Les in the house. Thank you, brother. As we get ready to close, let me say this. Greater Mount Zion is open for the community. We love the community. And as long as it's good for the community, the doors of the church are open. Without charge. And so I say this to everybody in the room. My only ask is that you respect the house. Don't disrespect the house. That's for everybody. All right? I'm not singling anybody out. Everybody. The rule is respect the house. You disrespect the house, you're not welcome. All right? One time, it's a pass. Because Jesus forgives. Second time, we're going to have an issue. Please respect the house. Amen? Amen. Now, may God's face shine upon you. May God bless both of these candidates as they expose themselves publicly to scrutiny. Regardless of who wins, may God bless you to do right by the people, not to anybody's particular interest, but that you would raise up the poor and the broken, that you would do right by those who have been forgotten, and that you would love the Lord your God. May God bless you, may God keep you, may God's face smile upon you. Amen. Amen.
As we move out, let John Bailey be the first one to say I apologize to all in attendance. Pastor, I respect the church, and I appreciate the blessing. Thank you.